Hey everyone, this is Jake, and today we are going to be talking about next awakening units that is coming to global server, which is Alice. And I gotta say, I always love the melee characters, and there's not enough of them in this game. And she's the one melee character that's actually good and really fun to use. So we'll jump in and talk about her. She should be coming out after the maintenance today along with her advanced story, so there is that to enjoy. But in this video, we'll talk about the usual things as well as what kind of content she can really play well in both PvE and PvP. So let's jump into video and talk about Alice. Alright, so let's go and summarize her kit and such first. She is a counter awakening SSR ranger units, and her deployment cost is 5, which is really good cost for awakening units once again. And her movement type and attack type is both ground type, so she kind of works like a lot of strikers, goes around the ground type and attacks the ground type enemies only. But I think that doesn't really become a problem for her, which we'll talk more about in the PvP sections. And to summarize her kit is very simple. She is a type of character gets buffed after using her special skills. So let's talk about her special skill first. Her special skill is this like 1-inch punch. She goes and just pierces the targets, applying the bind and true damage to the targets. And this single hits really hard. And you can like one-shot walls and such. So it's very cool to look at, especially in PvP as well. If you are fighting against a non-awakened defenders, she will just pierce through the targets and able to do tons of damage to them. After she uses her special skills, she will be buffed and grants with this oldest attacks as well as the perfect evasion and barriers as well. So she will do more damage with her basic attacks as well as having some survivability. But keep in mind this, she won't become like invincible types of tanking. She still gets like killed by like strikers and other types of DPS units pretty easily. It just gives her just enough survivability mechanics to keep her alive for a bit. So you still gotta have something like strikers or other defenders to kind of protect her if you want to stay her alive. But anyways, buff lasts for 8 seconds, and after that she kind of does a backstab. Then she will do basic attacks, which will continue to stack up her fury counts to able to use her special skill again. And usually after 2 special skill and bit of basic attacks, she should be able to use her ult skill again, which is going to be doing a lot of damage once again. And after using ultimate, her special skill cooldown will be resetted, so she will use her special skill once again to buff herself and continue to go on with her buff states and keep her cycle going. So very simple DPS types of character, and her damage is absolutely insane, which we'll talk about next section in the PvE as well as the PvP section. So very fun pure DPS setup, very simple character to be used as well. So let's talk about her gears now, and since she is a fury type of character, she usually got 2 options. You always want to be using attack speed set, and you either want to use a relic attack speed gears or Britra melee attack gears. Personally, from my usage of using both gears, I think I find her be more useful with the melee attack gears, and definitely have more melee attack gears laying around than the relic attack speed gears, which I'll be using on other characters constantly. So I'll always run with melee attack speed gears, and I think they work the best personally. She is a DPS types of characters, and she should be getting more than enough attack speed in PvE areas, so you don't really need anything else. You want to maximize her damage potential much as you can do, so I would definitely say melee damage all the way. And that is it. So very simple character. Always love the fury character. You just gotta get the gear for it. But you can also mix and match depending on how you want to play. From my experience, I think mixing with 2 pieces of the relic speed as well as melee damage gear from the Britra, I think that worked pretty great. So trying to utilize those 2 pieces and you should have amazing result with Alice. So let's talk about Alice in PVE Contents. I would definitely say she sits in one of the top 5 character when it comes to PvE sections. I think right now for Awakening unit DPS pool, Eve is definitely one of them. Then you have Mavka, That's another ranger class units. And you have Mordred, which is one of the best units against corrupted object units. And then you have an Ellis, which is one of the best ranger DPS units. Then you have a Jekyll, which just has a tons of PvE damage boost from her passive skills. So those 5 characters are kind of cycling through depending on the origin system and able to do a lot of damage. I think she definitely pushes out something like Lozadia and such. That's crazy. I know like Lozadia can push back, but like seriously, for 5 cost units, I think that makes a huge difference compared to 6 cost DPS units. And to optimize your team to the clear content as fast as possible, or trying to one-shot certain bosses and such, Ellis fits into that team very well. You will see her used quite a lot in a Kraken Inhabitor, as well as Demolition Worm. I think she's definitely weak against certain types of bosses that does a lot of melee damage. So Tyrant Gigas is definitely one of them, as well as Britra. Even though you will use her in like a last 1 minute phase, and she shouldn't be a problem with her tanking ability. It's just that in Korean server right now, the most popular setup for Britra is using all the stability range units that's like non-counter. So like you're trying to use all these mechanic units to burst out the Britra before it passes the 1 minute mark, and trying to kill it before that. So yeah, you melt down Britra before even it reaches the 1 minute mark to use your counter units. So there is no point of using Ellis basically to kill the Britra as fast as possible. But overall, when it comes to DPS character pool, she is amazing assets to have. And if you don't have 100% character collection, trust me, Ellis is going to be one of the DPS units that will make your life easier. And she's very cool and fun to use. And you can always use those melee gears that you will never really use in most of the situations onto Ellis for the maximum performance. So amazing character in my opinion when it comes to PVE content. Especially the bind effect, that's pretty insane as well. So last part is PvP, and I will just keep myself short. I think for global server, you won't have as much fun to use Ellis, I think, because it's just harder to use. But the Korean server is a very different story since Shasha released, which is the operator that will juice up terror comp, rush comp, especially if you have rangers and such. So it's totally different story for Korean server, and Shasha will come out to global server somewhat very soon, probably a month or 2 in my opinions. And once you equip Ellis with Shasha or terror comp with Shasha and have an Ellis in your hands as well, different combination it could have is pretty insane. Like Shasha Ellis is pretty outrageous. I mean, even if you don't use her, or if you don't get to trigger Shasha with her and get a buff, still like Ellis does a lot of damage as a rush unit. So it's pretty scary setup. But I think also a couple units are going to be getting buffed, as well as something like Awakened Shion will be getting Reactor. So I think him being a striker unit, as well as having counter mechanics, that could be a huge counter against the rush units like that. Or he will be the rush units like leader itself. We don't know what kind of reactor he will get. It all depends. And also there's something like Awaken Mina, of course, Awaken Chifuya, which I don't see that often in Korean server that much, except like 1 or 2 guys. That's pretty scary. Also Awaken Horizon, that's pretty scary. Rafaela also as a Grand Warrior. So if you consider all those factors, of course, it's definitely not the top of the meta units. But Terror Conf guys are boosted in Korean server, and yeah, them using Ellis is pretty scary. You have to face to see it. And I'm pretty sure global server people who's cooking rush units as well as Terracom are going to be loving every second with the Ellis as well as the Shasha. So be aware. You will face their craziness. But we'll see. That is pretty much it though. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to pull her, hopefully. I have like half pity for her for global server, so we'll see how much luck I get. If I don't, I guess I have to buy another package. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching guys. Jake. I will see you guys next time. Take care.